G'day YouTube. So just in front of me here I have my water on the go items. So I'm going to quickly talk about those, and then I've got another box of things that don't suit me but may suit you that I'll talk about. So let's get started. Okay, so let's just start with the bare minimum. If I'm going on an adventure, I'm just going from my car along a rail trail or something, there's people nearby, I'm within like 5 to 10 kilometers of my car, something nice and fairly easy, I've got lots of support nearby, I might just take something like this. So this is just a belt with a bottle loop attached on it. You can take that off so you can drink your water. Usually if I'm only drinking one bottle of water, that is all I'll take. No filtering stuff, nothing like that. So that's pretty much the bare minimum. If I'm going for a longer walk, still, a bit of a day thing to my car, like half a day trip type deal, I'll take this, which is a very small backpack. This is like a motorcycling backpack. Inside of it, I'll have usually some food bars, as well as a biffy bag in case I need to go to the toilet, and a couple of ponchos in case I need to make a shelter / keep myself dry for an unexpected rainstorm. I usually have a water bottle attached to the front like this, but the main reason why I have this one is because it is a hydration pack. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with hydration bladders. I love how easy it is to drink while I'm on the go. I tend to drink a lot more while I'm using them, keep myself well and truly better hydrated. But the downside is that you don't know how much water you have left. So if you've never really looked at a hydration pack system, it consists of something that you can suck on. Usually it's got some sort of valve to turn it on and off so that you don't accidentally squeeze it and let water in. And you have some sort of bladder of varying sizes. And to fill it up, you would need to take off the slider, unfold it a couple of times, and then put it under a drinking source, like a drinking tap of potable water or something. These generally hold a couple of litres, and that's how most people fill them up. So you'll notice that with my kit here, I have the Grayl filters for purification of water. So what I do is if I'm at a drinkable water source, like a creek or something, I'll do one pump down with the Grayl and then pour it straight into the bladder, and then another one, and then another one, because these are much smaller than a bladder, and then I've got a couple of litres of on-hand water. But if I'm just doing a half-day hike and I need, half a litre, 2 litres, and some little bit of supplies, that's what I'll do. If I'm going on a bit more of an extended trek, like an overnight or part of a get-home bag or bug-out type bag, I'd use this setup that's more in the middle here. So what I'll take with me is, first off, a little supply bag of goodies. I have some teas, some sugars, some coffee filters like this. I'll talk about the coffee filters in a moment. And some energy drinks. Now, you've got a couple of options with that. You can mix these. What I like with the Grayl is I have a little bit more redundancy in that inside of the clean side of the Grayl bottle, I can actually mix in my sugars and things if I want to. Say I've lost or broken the metal containers that I would drink from, or another bottle, or my bladder, I've still got a way that I can mix in some extra nutrients. In terms of the other things I got here for my normal overnight type trip, so this is a different kind of bladder. I actually like this one a lot more than the other ones for this, because the filling is just a matter of a couple of turns, and then I can fill this up with the Grayl. I usually keep it like at the top of my pack, not like properly mounted in, and then I would use this to fill up another drink bottle or to drink from if I really want to. But it's mostly just to have a better water storage. What I've got here, this is one thing that I've changed recently. I've gone to a nested cup and a matching metal bottle. So similar to the Nalgene bottles, but not Nalgene branded. But the idea is that I can use these for boiling water, transporting water, having a cup of tea or similar, cooking some food. And what I've seen recently but haven't done yet is actually using this to make char cloth by putting it inside of the can like that, obviously without the rubber, and That way you can use cotton or something inside to make char cloth. So if you've got one fire going, you can then make future fires easier. I kind of like that as a benefit. But otherwise, having a nested cup and the Grayl bottle. So if you've never seen a Grayl bottle before, they work for put your dirty water in this side, put this in, pump it through, and then inside of here you have the clean water that you can drink. I mean, they're not perfect. They do have issues. Like if you have them frozen twice, then the water inside the spores will start letting bacteria and stuff through. They do have a benefit though over a lot of the other filters, which I'll get into later, is they can filter out viruses and stuff. I would probably not drink human excrement contaminated water through this because there's a whole lot of other bad things that happens there. But most of the time in the world, this will be fine as long as it's not excrement contaminated water source, in which case you've got really running a gauntlet. So what I do, if the water's a little bit dirty with the Grayl, I will take one of my coffee filters, right, fold it open, put it over the lid and fold it down. It helps if there's a little bit of water still, it'll get it wet. And then I put a hair tie over the top to hold it in place. It does limit how fast you can pour water into it, but once this is a bit wet, it's a bit softer. But what that means is you're doing quite a lot of filtering beforehand, and these things you can also burn them if you need to. But in terms of getting some fairly dirty water and prolonging the life of your filter in the Grayl, it's a good and easy way to do it. You'll notice on my Grayl filter here, I also have one of these hook loops that I can use to attach to a backpack or similar if I don't want to use a side pouch, and I can drink straight from that. There is a newer version of the Grayl filter which has a spout on it, so it's not the big one, but it's still a smaller one, slightly bigger than this, but with a drinking spout. I think that's way better than the Ultralight. But the Ultralight does most of the heavy lifting with the metal cans for boiling and the filters for filtering water as a plan B. Just some extra accessories for the cup so you can hang it off and boil water and things in it. A plan C for filtering is you can actually use your shamag for doing that, and also for making char cloth if I wanted to, and go through. So a set of filters and a hair tie or two to keep the bottles together. In terms of other things, so this is what I used to use for my bags, and I might use it for get home type bags where I'm not having them on the outside. So what I have here is a Stanley cup and a Nalgene bottle, and to reduce space inside the Nalgene bottle, I keep a Ziploc bag with some clothes and stuff that I want to keep dry. You know, beanies, socks, and some thermals that I keep dry inside of the Nalgene bottle. Because obviously if it's designed to keep water in, it can also keep water out. And if it's going to be sitting in your car for a long time and probably not used, then that's it. And with the Stanley Cup, again, I store stuff inside of it. I like this with the Stanley Cup is that if you keep one of the internal cups, you can keep it in there, and you can keep a Sawyer Mini filter and still be able to get it all closed. So the Sawyer Mini filters, just for a moment, they are quite good little units, depending on where you're drinking water from. There are times though when if there's bacteria in the water, these won't filter them out. They're good for an awful lot, but you do need to back flush them. But in terms of longevity, like if you're on a hiking trip and you know the water doesn't contain viruses and you're being fairly cautious, maybe you are boiling some water every day, the Sawyer filters can work. But to be honest, I think they're more of a backup scenario. I'd still be boiling stuff that comes out of it, particularly if it's been an emergency. And for example, here in Victoria, there was a whole set of towns where they had a lot of rain, and so the septic systems all flushed into the drinking water. Now they don't have drinking water, and they're relying on people to bring bottled water in. In the area where I live, the underground water table that's been contaminated by septic, can't drink it anymore. You'll get really, really sick. So in terms of places where you can drink the water unfiltered or with a minor filtering is less and less. This is another discussion point I had. So this fits inside of a plate carrier, and you can actually fill these up with water and then keep them in the fridge or freeze them, and that way you've got a bit of prolonged hot temperature protection. I don't really like these. They're a bit of a pain in the ass to fill up. There is ways, what I'm going to show now from the next box, of how to fill a thing that's inside of it without pulling it out completely. But I didn't really like these. It makes a bit too much noise when you're moving around, and it did thicken up the chest a bit. So onto the stuff that I don't really talk about that much. Alright, so spread out in front of me is a few other talking point items, so I'll just work from left to right. First off, this is something that I've really liked. It's a drink bottle / water dispensing thing. It's really big. I like to store stuff in this for when I'm going to a camp, and then once I'm set up at a camp, I can dip this in a river and then use it to fill up my bottles a lot more easy, and I'll keep stuff in my bags dry while I'm transporting. Can also work like kind of a bear can if you live in that kind of area, but because it's all watertight, that makes it nice and good for preventing odours and things out as well. Next up is water testing. I do recommend you buy some water testing kits and learn how to use them and what the differences are of the types of water. I also recommend that you do some testing of your testing kits. There are ones that you can buy off Amazon and eBay and similar that they don't actually work, and you can read the reviews and see people that say they don't work. But if you take like pee in a cup and then test it versus drinking water, and they don't say there's any difference, then you know you've got a problem. As a general piece of advice, I think any testing kit that has more than one test on a strip with the same set of instructions for all of them, say like 14-in-1 type testing kits that you'd use for a swimming pool, don't use those. They are not very good. I do not trust any kind of filtered drinking water for working with my eyes. So if I need to wash out some dust or dirt or something has gotten in my eye, so I always try to take some form of eye cleaner. So a couple of different refresh drops or something slightly larger for the eye wash. So if you're not filtering water via like a membrane type filter, the other ways you can do it is chemical filtering. So these are the two types of ones that I have. Basically water purification type tablets. The portable aqua ones I think are the better ones, because there's two different bottles there that do different things. One gets all the dirt to stick together, so gravity affects it and sinks it to the bottom, and the other one is the chlorine that purifies it. And these are just the chlorine tablets. Now I've done this for quite a while, so I used to drink from a canteen and have a canteen kidney cup. I really quite like these kidney cups, and with it I would take a bit of aluminium foil that I could use to cover over the top so I could boil stuff a bit better in it. In terms of how I used to carry it, I actually lost quite a lot of bottles because of these clips. Now you don't really get these anymore with Molly. I think the stuff would be a bit more attached, but you know, I lost one in a non-permissive environment once, and that was not a good day. So what I ended up doing was I would store them in an ammo pouch, and meant that I could store other things in the ammo pouch if I needed to, rather than something specifically designed for a drink bottle. So if you're looking at that sort of stuff, that's what I did and recommend. So getting up to the final front here. Editing actually, I could hear my wife in the background of this segment, so I've had to cut the audio. It was all about how I can fill up a bladder using the Sawyer fill system, kind of showing how the connectors and things go when you cut the plugs and put it on. Personally, I've never actually used it because none of my bladders are the correct size piping. Even the one that you can see here, I just really cut it for the video, and I've reattached it now, so I don't really want to have to cut it off again. So, seems like a good idea and concept. I don't know how well it will work in the field. If you can find a bladder that's the right size for the fill system, in terms of the pipe size. But also, if you're trying to push the water into it, you might end up with air in your bag as well. Could cause you some extra issues, maybe over bloated the bag, etc. But overall, good idea. Don't know how well it works in practice. So that's it for that. I will stop recording now. If you've got any questions, put them in the below, and thanks for watching.